Hello, hello, and good evening. Day? I don't know. Anyways, it's been a while. I went on vacation. So now that I'm back, let's make a video. And I actually am very far behind. So we're going to do a true crime today. And this true crime is going to be Anthony Sowell, the Cleveland Strangler. And this case pisses me off. It angers me to no end, this case. And this case also angers me because in so many cases where you hear about, also we're in the wasteland, but we're in New Vegas wasteland. Anyways, because we're in the New Vegas, if you're wondering, why aren't we in 76 wasteland? Why are we in the New Vegas wasteland? Well, because your girl got her PS5. But I got to download all my games to it, and that's going to take hours. So right now we're on the PS4. And we're doing this while that does its thing. Anyways, so Anthony Sowell, this case pisses me off because he abused and harmed women, and especially women of color, and especially prostitutes. And I don't even know where I am. I don't remember nothing. Oh, okay, I'm somewhere with the NCR. So you're talking about demographics that are so commonly forgotten, overlooked, just plain fucking ignored, if not just harmed anyways by police. And what really affects me with this one is so many of those cases you hear, so many people will be like, well, that was back then. That happened back then, you know? And unfortunately, those cases definitely did. You hear a case from the 70s, you're going to go, oh yeah, they definitely. Yeah, they fucked up. This case is from 09. 09. So that's what, this case. So, we're going to start a little backwards with this case because this dude worked in secret. And I won't even, you know what? I can't even say he worked in secret. He didn't even fly under the radar. He sat on the radar and said, look what I'm doing. And the police were like, did you guys hear something? Don't even worry about it. So obviously he's in Cleveland. He gets out of prison in 2005 for aggravated sexual assault. Okay? I'm making eye contact with y'all. He's dead now, was a tier 3 sex offender. He had cops coming to his house randomly all the fucking time because he's tier 3 sex offender. Keep that in. There's a reason I'm putting so much emphasis on that. He is registered. He had just gotten out of prison for it. Cops are coming to his house to check in and shit. And he has to knock and conversate. It's not just he needs to go to his parole officer and say anything to her or, just do a piss test. He actually has to conversate with cops. Okay. Let me pick Ambassador Crockett. Ooh, I don't. Well, let's continue taking pictures. That's a good one, especially for this case. That makes me so angry. Okay. So, then I already took a picture of this one. It's not leading me here. Okay. So, all right. So during this, we gotta fast forward. So he gets out in 2005. He's a registered sex offender. Cops are coming to his house and stuff. Okay? You know what? I'm not even going to go backward. This is going to be kind of all over the place because, okay. Pretty soon after he gets out, a couple years. So he moves in to his aunt's house. Now she is, had strokes and stuff, so she wasn't home. Tended to be, if she was home, she lived on the very first floor. Is like a duplex type place. And he had the 2 upper floors. Okay? And so you have cops that are coming to his house all the time. And you have, there's a lot of baddies down there. Okay. You also have neighbors after a while, after a couple years, while he is known in the neighborhood for being friendly. He's the guy who helps. He's always on his porch smiling. He's a partier. He is a partier. He does do drugs. He does sell drugs. And he will help you out with that. But most people in the neighborhood just saw him as a friendly, helpful dude. And this is how he also got women to come with him pretty easily, because not only were these women, obviously, most of them were drug addicts looking to party, or prostitutes. They would just trust him too, because nobody distrusted this dude. So, but pretty soon people started smelling a terrible smell in this neighborhood, okay? Real bad. Bad, okay? So bad that for a neighborhood where most people aren't going to call the city or the cops or anything, because it's they have a major distrust of them, that they do call the city. And they're like, yo, there is a fucking smell coming from this house. Now, he was known to be a dirty dude. He was known to be a stank ass. And people were like, well, it seems like it's coming from his house, and he's pretty fucking stinky. But I don't think he's that fucking stinky, right? So they immediately blamed the sausage factory that was on the street. And the sausage factory spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to make it better, changing air filters, putting in a whole new air system, just all types of shit happening.
Only combat I seen lately was shooting some geckos.
And so he
Stay out of the control room and enclosure, or there's gonna be trouble. Got it?
Okay. But the neighborhood still stinks, and people think it has to be the sausages, so, they just kind of reside themselves to this stinky, what regular folks think is just stinky meat plant smell. This is my first red flag, okay? Because let me go with the story. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go on with the story. But just pin it. This is your first red flag. If you listen to crime stuff a bunch, okay? All right. He also, I even wrote my notes a little backwards. Okay. So he even, where do I want to go from this? Okay, so it's stinky, it's smelly, cops are visiting frequently, okay? So in 2009, it's gonna jump ahead, and then I'll also go back a little bit. This is all over the place, sorry. It's October 2009 when police are at his house to execute an arrest warrant because a woman named Latondra has accused him of sexual assault. She actually accused him back in fucking September, and the beginning of September, went to the hospital to get a rape kit and everything. It took them 5 weeks to finally go to his house. Named him and everything. It took them 5 weeks to finally go to his house and not only just talk to him, but go arrest him. A tier 3 sexual offender. Okay, let's pin in that, all right? But they finally make it there. 2009 is when they're issuing their arrest warrant, okay? The house is dark, the house is quiet. And they're like, okay. They kick in the door, and it smells so fucking bad. But it doesn't just smell, it's filthy. Filthy. Think hoarders times 10, trash bags, poo buckets, okay? Dude was using poo buckets and just leaving them there. And so it's deplorable conditions, just horrendous conditions in this house. And so they start going floor by floor. They split off. They send a troop to the basement and a troop floor by floor. And so the basement troop goes straight there. The floor by floor, they're kicking in doors. He's not there, but more trash. They finally get to the very last door, and it's actually locked. So they're like, okay, let's kick it in. 1, 2, 3. kick it in. The smell hits them like a fucking boulder. And it is 2 dead, decomposed bodies on the floor. And these bodies aren't fresh. Okay, this isn't like, oh my God, he just killed somebody. These bodies are so badly decomposed that they can't tell shit about them. They can't tell sex. They can't tell how they died, where they died. It would be pointless to have anyone even come look at their faces. Like, that's how fucking decomposed these bodies are. That smell everyone's been calling about, thinking it's sausage, that's the smell. Decomposed bodies. So as these guys are like, oh shit, this is bad, this is really bad. The basement guys are like, hey Cap, we found like a fresh grave and there's like a bag sticking out, and they're like, everyone hands off. Because remember, this isn't homicide. They're just arresting a sexual offender. So they're like, everyone hands off, back out slowly. We gotta call homicide, okay? And homicide comes in. Now, as they're toting out bodies and homicide's coming in to take evidence and stuff, they are getting a crowd. And the crowd is thinking that Anthony, is obviously the one who died. He does drugs, he parties with girls, they probably OD'd together. That's what everyone is thinking has happened. And so one neighbor decides to go to Anthony's sister's house and tell her that Anthony has died or something really bad's happened and she needs to come speak to the police. Why do I feel like I'm heading back to, let me look at the map. Where am I supposed to be going? So, yeah, I'm heading back to him. No, I was going to Sunset Sarsaparilla. Let's fast travel. No. Yes. Okay, so she gets to the sister's house, and the sister opens the door, and there's fucking Anthony sitting on the couch with his nephews. And she's like, there are a bunch of cops and dead bodies being pulled out of your house, dude. You might want to go talk to the cops. And he's like, what? So he is like, okay, can you give me a ride? And she's like, yeah, I'll give you a ride. And so she gets in the car with him. Dumb. And she then, as she's getting close to his house. Am I supposed to take a picture of the dinosaur? She's getting close to his house. He goes, the girls made me do it. They'll never let me out. Some shit like that. And so, wrong button. I haven't played in so long. Yeah? No? Okay. So she ends up kind of starting to like realize what's happening, that there's a fucking killer in her car. And he goes, take me back to my sister's. She's like, yep, no problem. And she takes him back to his sister's. He gets out and she leaves and she's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And she says she panicked and she just kind of went home. And then after a while she did tell her son like what happened. And that's when he was like, bro, you have to tell somebody about this. So her son took her to the cops and she told them everything. So the cops are like, all right, manhunting it to the sisters. And they get a manhunt going, and he's already left the sisters. And so now that they're having to do a press conference and go, hey, there's a killer in the streets. We found 3 bodies here. But we're sure that's it. Dang it, hit the wrong button. We're like sure that that's it. So, you know. Oh, wrong thing. No, don't want to boon. Do it? Yes. Okay. So then, the cops are like, okay, this is cool. So they bring in some cadaver dogs, and they're like, I'm sure there's no more, but let's just make sure, right? And there was more. They found some bodies in a wall. And they found some bodies in the backyard. And so now they're up to 6 bodies. And they're like, okay. They hold another press conference and they're like, we're sure this is done. We're sure it's 6. It'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. It's also Halloween now. And people are flipping out because now you have 6 bodies. This dude is still on the fucking run. And the cops are like, no, we're not going to cancel Halloween. Just, stranger danger. Be safe. Don't worry about it. Which I find just so silly. To me, it feels like the city is for sure covering their ass. And as the story goes on, you'll be like, oh, that's okay. So they tell everyone, don't even worry about it. Go ahead, go trick-or-treating. Luckily for the community, this dude comes in to the police precinct. Excuse me. Calls into the police precinct and is like, well, I think your killer is on the corner down the block. And they're like, oh, they go get him. So they run up to him. They're like, hey, you're fucking arrested. And he's like, why would I be arrested? And they're like, you killed people. Aren't you this guy? You're Anthony? And he's like, I'm not. And they're like, well, just in case, how about we go ahead and fingerprint you. Let's go to the precinct. He's like, yeah, let's go to the precinct because I didn't do shit. But as soon as they get to the precinct and they get the ink on his fingers, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm Anthony. You got me. And they're like, okay, well, we found your 6 bodies, sir. And he's like, oh, is that it? So all together, they'll go digging more. He'll tell them where all the bodies are. And it's 11 bodies in this house. 11 bodies in this house, okay? Then you also have the testimony of the woman who came forward, LaTondra. You're also going to find out, they also find a bunch of bags of clothes. Let me skip ahead. They also find a random skull, so technically 12 victims, but couldn't identify her. They do end up identifying all the victims, though. They end up having to actually, so they know these women are so badly decomposed, they can't really identify them. So not only are they looking at their missing persons list, but they're like, if anyone in your family has gone missing, they set up a mobile unit, and they're like, if you've gone missing, or anyone you know has gone missing, bring us some DNA, bring us some pictures, and we will try to match these up. And so with 2 of the victims, they found their families that way, and they had no reports. Like, they were completely off the map. And then with everyone else, they had missing persons reports. And so this will piss the families off. You also find out that there were other victims of his that had gotten away. So there was a woman who called and was like, oh, I was raped by this guy. And they're like, well, you gotta do a rape kit. And she's like, nope. And she runs. And I get it. You can't have a case. But you already knew let me just keep going. They also had another woman who came forward and was like, this dude raped me. And they would take her report and everything, and then they'd go talk to him, and he'd be like, I didn't rape her. She tried to rob me. So yeah, I had to stand up for myself. And they just go, yep, that sounds legit. And they just believe him over her. The tier 3 sex offender. So, they also, a couple months before they kick in his door, a woman flung herself, a naked woman threw herself out of his 2nd story window. And paramedics come, and of course she fucked herself up. Paramedics come, and they find him naked, dragging her unconscious body back into the house. And when they're like, yo, what you doing there, bud? He's like, oh, well, this is my wife, and we were just having sex, and it got a little rough. He didn't call 911. So they just take her to the hospital. They accept that he's her husband, and before the cops can talk to her, they let her husband talk to her, and he threatens her whole family. If you say anything, I'm going to kill you, your kids, everybody. So, of course, when the cops are like, hey, what happened? She's like, nothing. Me and my boyfriend were having sex on the balcony, and I fell off. Okay, she didn't fall off the balcony. She was found under the second-story window. But do the cops look into this shady-ass story and situation? Nope. Take it for what it's worth, close the book, move on with their lives. He would be convicted on all charges, and he would actually end up dying in 2021. He got convicted on 83 charges, and but he died February of 2021 of an illness. But the only articles I could find was that it wasn't COVID. It was an illness. So they won't say why he died, but he died. So fucking good riddance to his sick ass. But the thing that makes me so mad about this case, okay, is all of the red flags that these officers just said, no, I'm not even gonna look. Like, the just blatant ignoring of the situation. Because one, I'll say, I was never a police officer. I was an animal control officer. I have smelt death on animals. We have to pick up roadkill a lot. I've been in a house with a dead body. I was there to pick up her cats, but she had died in her sleep. She had been left for like a week. The smell of death is unique, okay? And I know everyone's heard it. Once you smell death, you know what death smells like. There's no smell like death. And death is one of those smells that doesn't get better. You don't get used to it. It just gets worse. You want to throw up in your mouth every time you smell it, no matter how long you stand in that room. So it's a really disgusting smell. And it really, why do I feel like these are cazadors coming up? By the way they're moving. I can't get over this peak. So that was my first thing of like, I'm calling so much bullshit on this because his house was smelling like this for months, 4 months. Okay. He had cops coming to his house. He had people from the city coming to and around his house. Okay. I'm pretty sure officers are going to know what death smells like. They got to smell it a lot. You are not confusing that with sausage. Okay? It's bullshit. It's a lot of BS. What is that? There's something down there. It's a lot of just, oh, whatever it is, it has a gun. So that's good. It's not a, uh-oh. I guess my guy's got him. And whatever that was. So that's my, there's no way you didn't know what that smell was. I'm calling so much bullshit on that. Okay? And then he's a convicted sex offender. Convicted. Did 15 years. And you had multiple women around him say he is my rapist. And you guys, and you just went, no. Like, I get innocent until proven guilty. I get people have to make the case. I get conversations have to be had and all that. But I, for one, and maybe this is why I shouldn't be a cop or a lawyer or anything, but if a woman comes to me, of all the men, personally I am for definitely giving the victim the benefit of all the doubts. But if a woman comes to me and goes, this man raped me, and I look into that man and go, oh, he's a convicted sex offender. Of all the men, I'm going to immediately be like, and arrest him. Persecute him to the fucking fullest. It'd be the fucking sex offenders. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. This many women should not have died. This many women should not have died. Personally, I don't believe any of these women should die because I personally, and you guys can get me on this, I believe there are two things people should never get out of prison for. Murder and sexual assault. Violent crimes. You should never get out of prison. And yes, I can think, especially sex crimes. I can even think of reasons why certain murderers are, because technically you're a murderer or involuntary manslaughter. I don't necessarily think involuntary manslaughter should be put in jail forever, but like actual murder, you pulled a gun because you were pissed or in love or whatever the fuck, you should never get out of jail. You rape someone, you should never get out of fucking jail. Especially if you sexually assault, violently sexually assault people and are children, you should never get out of jail. Ever. Sex crimes, never get out of fucking jail. Because there's no reform. There is no reform. It's what they're into. It is their kink. And you can't change that. So it makes me really mad. It makes me really mad. I don't think he should have ever been on the streets. In the first place, he should have never been fucking let out. And then the fact that he was let out, and the very first person to come forward should have been enough to put him right the fuck back. Because fuck him. And I'm sorry. Yes, I'm not a cop hater. Don't get me wrong. But in this case, yes, once bodies were found, they did seem to go above and beyond. They did seem to like get their ducks in the row. But they should have never had that many bodies if they would have been on top of him in the first place, you know? If they would have taken these people, these women, this neighborhood seriously in the first place, there would not be 11 women dead. And I think it's really fucking tragic that this ever happened. And
I have a present for you from the Powder Gangers. I hope you like dynamite.
Don't throw things at me. Handle my lightweight, guys. Thanks. I'm making this now. Damn. So that is my take on that. So that is your Cleveland Strangler, Anthony Sowell. Happened in 2009. He died 2021. So let me know. What do you think? Am I wrong? Is there nothing that could have been done? Is this a tragedy that could have never been prevented? Or am I right? Could this have been definitely fucking prevented if someone would have taken something seriously? Let me know. Do you want to learn about anybody else? Are you really enjoying true crime, or do you want to go back to horror? I'm also going to be doing the history of Coca-Cola, so stay tuned for that. And keep my page fresh. So let me know. What do you want to learn about? What historical figure? What company? What activity? Wars? Anything. Let me know. Comment it. Subscribe. And interact. Please, God, interact with me. But you guys have a great night.